Hello and welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Rochelle. For the last 12 weeks, we've been going through the 12-week year, mostly as it's written out in this book right here. If you want to check it out, basically in the 12-week year, instead of planning for an entire year and then breaking that year down into quarters, you plan for 12 weeks as if it is an entire year. You plan to accomplish something that you would put on a yearly list, but you give yourself 12 weeks to do it. You're supposed to choose between 1 and 3 goals. For this one, I did choose 3 goals to work toward as we continued through the 12-week year. And this is my last check-in as I'm doing this on Sunday night, the 30th. This is the end of my first 12 weeks of 2025, which is incredible. Stay tuned on Thursday. We will be setting up a new one of these trackers. I'm going to take it really slow, potentially do it live, so that we can look at what it is to set up this Notion tracker. If you are interested in this, it is available in my Notion marketplace with a 25% off code that is available in the description of this video. I want to do a little bit longer video this time so that we can look back at where I started, what I wanted, then look at the tactics that I did and my percentages of completing them, because according to the people who wrote this book, if you are routinely doing at least 85% of your tactics, you should be hitting your goals in theory. And if you're not, you either need to change your tactics or change your goal. So to start, like always, I am going to go through and open a new weekly check-in. This is week 12, so we're going to have the same questions as always, but I am going to change the way that I'm looking at this. We'll look at this week specifically, and then after that, we're going to look at the year as a whole. So for this week, my average for completing this vinyasa with no modifications was 71%, my wrist rehab at 43%, and yoga at 100%. I did this 3 different days this week, and this I did 3 different days as well. Even though my tactics measures are not looking great on some of these, it is intentional on this part, which we'll get into when we look at the specific goals. This one, this felt so far away that I didn't try. Honestly, that's where that is. And that is part of this review, is acknowledging that. I knew that I was not going to double my subscribers and like quadruple my watch hours in the last week. And so I haven't been putting as much effort into it. My time's been spent elsewhere, like working on my musical. This is irrelevant because moving forward, we're not going to do anything with this 12-week year. We're going to actually duplicate this into a brand new thing, I'm pretty sure. I don't want to just archive this. I want to start over so that I have this to look back on, and then a new one moving forward. So we're not changing anything, or rather we're changing everything. And looking ahead, we do actually have a week 13 coming, which is going to be kind of what I consider like a dead week in college. I don't know what they're called these days, but it was called dead week when I went to college, where it's in between semesters and not a lot is happening. So my plan for this week 13, this in-between week, is going to be to assess a lot more what happened, what I want to move forward, and do some evaluating for everything. So I actually want to delete this filter because then we can look at everything. So for this, over the course of the last 12 weeks, I managed 79.83% of my tactics for this. For this one, I managed 94.42, and this one came in at a nice 129%. That comes in at a nice average 101%, but as we'll see getting into this, the percentage is not actually correlated with what I accomplished and what I didn't, which meant that I wasn't necessarily choosing the right tactics to hit my goals. I think before we look at the goals themselves, I do want to go in and look at my first journal, and this one actually has notes, unlike the ones that I've been doing in video and not actually typing out, because it was just taking extra time and I can rewatch these videos if I want to know where I was at each week, for better or for worse. Although sometimes I do journal in my adorable, look at that, it says love and sign language. I love that. That's my 12-week year journal when I'm not working in Notion. So in 3 years from September of 2024 is when this vision was created. So looking at September of 2027, I wanted my musical to have been workshopped several times, my YouTube channel monetized, recognized Notion creator, about 3,000 followers on Medium, developed a skill I've never had before. Writing this out in September was scary because I was literally in a splint when I said this. Like, I could not move my wrist, and I said I wanted a skill that I'd never had before. It was pretty cool. And then 6 months of income in this emergency fund and 10% to retirement, which I actually already do. my ideal day-to-day life. I want to be doing creative projects, setting my own schedule, doing workouts that I find fun and challenging, and, finding a rhythm of hard focus and long breaks, because I work really well with that kind of schedule. Over the next 12 weeks, it was gymnastics meet season. I was out of town a lot, although really wasn't too bad. I haven't had to do any overnight meets, and I won't until next weekend. It will be our only overnight meet of the whole season, which is pretty incredible for gymnastics, especially out on the West Coast where the gyms are so far apart. I've worked for 2 editing clients so far, virtual assistant commitments that I've done, doctor's appointments. But yeah, it really hasn't been too bad in terms of commitments. I definitely never hit this goal, and I do think that was a problem, was that I never managed to batch record my videos. And I think we need to get into why and what that means for this channel too. So let's see. My first goal was to complete a reading of Going Viral 101, then reach out to 3 to 5 people about next steps. I wanted to finish lead sheets for every song, and ideally lead sheets with melodies, like notated. Figure out each character's vocal range, write the last scene, give all of Act 2 a facelift, add more stage direction, schedule a virtual workshop, and then do it. Then after I did a reading, I would want to reach out to contacts about other readings or places I could approach. I was pretty sure it was possible. I'd been working through lead sheets, working with collaborators, and scheduling my songwriting class. And I had already reached out to one person who said to reach out when I had a finished libretto. And we'll get into that I did. I forgot when I started this 12-week year, I had songs I hadn't finished yet, like not even finished writing the melodies for. And I did end up writing like 1.5 new songs minimum. No, 1, 2, 3, 3 new songs during the 12 weeks. Anyway, my next goal was to reach 500 subscribers, 1,500 watch hours. I did let Claude AI tell me this goal, and I think if I do keep a YouTube goal moving forward, I'm going to decide my own goal based on how I've been growing and not based on what could be possible for somebody who makes more viral content. I like what I make. I think I do a relatively good job of it, but I do know it's not the kind of thing that's going to get shared millions of times and turn into viral content that's very relevant to the moment. I'd wanted to plan my videos in advance, pay attention to analytics, if it's engaging enough, work to improve my thumbnails and titles, upload a video a week consistently. I've managed to, most of the time. Focus on quality and trying to integrate more editing and clips as necessary. If I were to reach it sooner, I would plan my videos in advance, order them in a way that makes sense, prepare scripts a little more formally, and experiment with shot lists and voiceovers and whatnot. And finally, to complete a 45-minute yoga vinyasa with no modifications and no pain. I wanted to do wrist therapy, wrist widget exercises to stretch and strengthen, moving into prehab and yoga, and hopefully without modifications. I wanted to formalize my system so that tracking is just about easier than not tracking. So yeah, that was where I was 12 weeks ago. This is where I got. Let's go in order, start with this one. So my 12-week year started on January 7th, which meant this is new. All of this is new. This is new. This is new. I didn't have lead sheets or demos done for everything. Wow. All of this is new. Writing the melodies for this song. This notation is new. And I should go through and actually show you what I'm doing for notation, because I was not capable of this when the 12-week year started. So this, again, brand new, full score. This is brand new. I do have that done, and come on. This started, but today I actually went and rewrote these lyrics. So we're going to go through and say that this was last updated March 3, 2020. So I do have some updating to do because I ended up expanding the song based on feedback from one of my friends. I did the workshop on January 19th. I workshopped my show like 2 weeks after my 12-week year started, which meant from there I was working on some transcription work to practice and other things and getting a little bit faster at it and being happy about that. And then I wrote a new song, updated my whole script, made changes, worked out the epilogue, finished the ending, formatted it, and sent an email to a friend. So how many songs do I even have like fully notated now? Full notation, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 with 2 halves. That's not bad considering I didn't start notating until about 1 month in. So for about 8 weeks, I did 4 and 2 halves of songs. That's not bad. I'm really, really happy with that, especially because some of them took a lot of time and I didn't always focus on them. So then this one is the other one that I got to mark off as done a while ago. Part of why I stopped doing as much rehab is because I stopped needing it being so formal. I have full range of motion in my wrist, but I do need to take a step back and recalibrate a little bit. I got a bit ahead of myself, unsurprisingly. I was like, it's my last week, let's go for broke, and got broke. So this is one place where I feel like my goal was always to hit every week. Every day I did at least half was the goal. And I didn't always do that, but I did enough to absolutely hit my goals. I reached down dog, a wall push-up, cat cow, a regular push-up. March 1st, I technically checked off my goal. Then I could do a plank and then like reach up to touch my shoulders, which meant balancing on one hand for a bit. I was doing press handstand drills. I went to gymnastics class 10 days ago. And this week I went for broke and I tried a crow pose. I did it. I jumped from down dog to forward fold with control. I've missed doing that. I'm really excited about that. But it did take me like 3 days to recover some of my wrist mobility. So I'm thinking I pushed that a little bit too fast just for the sake of doing it in the 12th week, which was not the smartest thing I've ever done. But I mean, I have time now that I can go back and slow down. And I don't think that I re injured it. I just think that I pushed it a little bit too far. Then we didn't get to, but I want to talk about some of the things that we did do. So we got so close to the 365 that I've been hoping for recently. I see you, Taylor Swift. I am also feeling 22. You know what? Those are some of my favorite numbers. That's like the Taylor Swift number. That's the date I was born on. But these are all the videos that I put out with some ideas for other ones. I started doing so much more with my editing, my writing videos in particular. I've been looking at adding B-roll, adding a little bit of animation, showing a little bit more what's going on, and scripting my videos a little bit more in depth than I was when I started. I'm a little bit faster in editing videos like this, even though I've gotten slower at doing ones where I'm pulling the camera out and changing things a little bit. I feel like it's a good skill for me to have, especially if I go through with one of the goals that I'm thinking about for next month, which includes making a formatting course in Word, which means a lot of videos and video editing. The last month especially, I've started considering this goal as training wheels for getting in front of the camera again and making a course for something that I used to have and I want to re-up and do a little bit better marketing for so that I can get my course to the people that it was meant to be with. I do feel like that has been a useful goal to have because of the skills that I've developed while doing it. And just, I'm really, really pleased with how this has gone. I can't believe how much I've done in 12 weeks. Like truly this works. The 12-week year works. I hit 2 out of my 3 goals. And the third goal, I still learned so much from that I wouldn't have learned if I hadn't been working on it.